Iliff has a few databases you can search using scripture. One of them is the Atla Religion database, which we look at in another video. In this video, we're going to look at how to search using scripture in the Old Testament Abstracts database and the New Testament Abstracts database. Like the Atla database, these are both EBSCO products, which means the process is largely similar, though there may be some minor differences. Since you'll use the same process when searching Old Testament abstracts and New Testament abstracts, in this video, we're going to use Old Testament abstracts as an example. So we'll start on our library homepage, scroll down to select databases. And then from this A to Z list, if you're going to New Testament abstracts, you'll select N, and there's New Testament abstracts right there. Or you'll select O and then click on Old Testament abstracts. So once we're here, there are a couple of different ways you can search using scripture. The first way is to just enter the book, chapter, and verse, or any combination of the three in this search bar right here. So for instance, if we're interested in Ruth 1:6, we'll type Ruth 1:6 into the search bar, then come over here to where it says select a field, go down and select scripture citation and click the green search bar. What this does is returns results that have Ruth 1:6 in the scripture citation field, which we'll see if we open one of these records and look here in scripture citation, there's Ruth 1:6, our search term. What this means is that someone who was responsible for describing or indexing the resource, whether it was the author or a librarian, decided that this resource is described well by saying it discusses this scripture, along with these other scripture terms as well. You also have the option to come up here to the top of the search screen where you'll click on indexes. In this browse and index option, you'll click scripture reference. And then in the browse for box, you'll enter the search term you're interested in. So we'll go with Ruth 1:6 again. Click on browse. What you'll notice here is that a number of different terms come up that may either include or relate to the verse you entered. You also see other terms that may be less relevant. So if we are interested in Ruth 1:6, we're probably less interested in Ruth 2:12 on its own. But what we also find here is that there are some different indexing terms that include the verses we're interested in. So here we have our original search term, Ruth 1:6, but we also have Ruth 1:6 through 22 and Ruth 1:6 through 32. So if you remember when we searched for Ruth 1:6, we got 3 results. Over here under records count, we can see that Ruth 1:6 has 3 results, but then we see that these other terms also have some different records. So if we select all of them and click add to add them to our search box and then click search, we might get more than those original 3 results. And so broadening this search could mean that we find other relevant resources. The indexed terms we were just looking at also give examples of other terms that we could search for. And without looking at the index, we might not have known that these are the indexing terms the database uses. So if we were to have tried searching for a different range, say Ruth 1:6 through 20, we might not get the same results or results that are as relevant to our interests. One other trick for finding search terms in this database is to come up here next to indexes where it says scriptures. Click on that, and that'll take you to a list of subject terms that are used in the scripture citation field. So here you can enter the book that you're interested in. We'll stick with Ruth and click on browse. The default is that the terms will be listed alphabetically. You can also select relevancy ranked, but alphabetical is going to be pretty easy to navigate through. So we'll stick with that. Whichever one you choose, it's helpful to scroll through and look at all the terms because sometimes there are other terms that might be helpful that we missed in our other searches, such as this one, Ruth 1:1 through 6. This wasn't listed with the other terms that we saw earlier, but it may return other results. So we'll go ahead and we'll select that. We'll scroll down and we'll just keep going through and select the terms that we feel are relevant. Then we'll click search, and that returns the results that have at least one of those indexed terms in that scripture citation field or in the subject field. Each of these different ways of searching can be helpful in different situations. Remember that whichever one you feel is most helpful, if you have questions or want some additional help searching, please reach out to the library.